Hey, y'all. I know this is going to be hard for some of you to believe, especially if you've watched any of my content, but I occasionally get in trouble for the stuff that I say. And recently I got in trouble for saying that queerphobia is a sin. Homophobia and transphobia are sins. And in the course of all of the kerfuffle that came out of that, somebody asked me, well, why do you have to be so strident? Why do you have to be so confrontational about these things? Why do you have to come out and say that homophobia and transphobia are a sin? Here's why. A couple of days ago, I told you about a young woman named Juniper Blessing, a young trans woman at the University of Washington who was murdered for existing while trans. In Caught in the act of the heinous crime of doing her laundry, she was stabbed over 40 times in the laundry room of her apartment building. A week later, to the day, Eryka Caldwell, a trans woman of color in Brooklyn, New York, was also stabbed to death in her own apartment by her abusive ex-boyfriend, who then sat down on the couch and waited for the police to arrive while Eryka bled out on the floor. The kind of bigotry, the kind of hatred that leads to trans women being murdered like this, and the kind of bigotry and hatred that leads some people to comment that the death of a trans woman like Juniper or a trans woman like Eryka is somehow a good thing or a blessing is a sin. Period. And if you are so depraved as a human being that you don't understand why the death of a trans person could be a tragedy, if the fact that they were trans makes it not a tragedy in your mind, if you are so depraved as a human being that you cannot see that these are human beings who are being murdered, then I sincerely hope you don't call yourself a Christian, because you clearly do not understand anything about Jesus. And to my trans siblings, I am so sorry. I am so sorry for the fear that you have to live with every day. I am so sorry that we all have to be so scared for so many of the people that we love. But I promise you that you are not alone. I promise you that you are valid and that you matter and that you are precious. And I promise you that you are indeed deeply and profoundly loved, not in spite of who you are, but precisely because of who you are. God bless.